What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So my first video of 2022, and today I want to talk about GGPI Polestar stock. This stock has some huge upcoming catalysts that will finally see Polestar become a Nasdaq listed company in the coming months. But that's not all. GGPI also has some catalysts coming in the next few weeks. So if you find any value in this video, can you kindly tap that like button? It really helps the channel grow. I'm aiming to get 200 likes on this video, help me achieve my goal. If you're new, consider subscribing to the channel. It costs you nothing, but it could make you a lot of money. Since my previous videos back in December, some of the stocks that I've looked at have made huge multi-bagger gains. Stocks like Petrotech Energy that I've been talking about for months now reached an all-time high this week of 40 cents, meaning that this is my first 1000% stock of 2022. But also we've seen Ascent Solar and IQSTEL both gain over 100% in the past 2 weeks. So I would really appreciate a show of support and smash the like button and help this channel grow. And be sure to pop over and check out my Patreon page where I'm bringing the latest bangers that I believe will make huge gains this year. Making videos takes hours to do. This should allow me to bring you vital information far quicker. This is not financial advice. I encourage everyone to do your own due diligence. Now let's get into it. GGPI Gores Guggenheim went public with its IPO in March 2021. This SPAC is the latest SPAC created by serial entrepreneur billionaire Alec Gores and the Guggenheim Investment Group. Right from the start, Gores Guggenheim's strategy was to identify an opportunity to acquire a potential market-leading company with strong equity story that will benefit from the growth capital of going public and be enhanced by the experience and expertise of Gores and the Guggenheim's extensive track record of investing in and operating businesses. Alec Gores is one of the world's most successful investors with a long and proven history when it comes to SPAC mergers. Gores has brought several companies public over the past few years, including Luminar, which I will talk a bit more about later, and Matterport. Both of these mergers were very successful and seen the stock make several 100% gains post-merger. Although they have both dropped again recently, these companies are still far above the original SPAC price of $10. At the time of the GGPI IPO back in March, we had just come to the end of the SPAC boom and many de-SPAC companies' share prices had begun dropping. GGPI share price didn't move too much until late September when Gores Guggenheim announced the Polestar merger. With that announcement, GGPI stock gained a little, but the real movement came in November when GGPI filed the Nasdaq listing plans. The timing of this is very important and I will look at this later in the video. The Polestar deal will be supported by cash proceeds of around $800 million from Gores Guggenheim and includes a PIPE or private investment in public equity of $250 million from top tier institutional investors. Polestar, backed by the Volvo Car Group and affiliates of Geely Automotive, also count Hollywood actor Leonardo DiCaprio among its investors. Polestar is a global pure-play, premium electric vehicle company based in Sweden with a mission to produce progressive, electric performance cars designed and engineered without compromise. They say that they are design-focused electric performance car brand harnessing refined performance and cutting-edge technology. Determined to improve the society we live in by accelerating the change to an electric, climate-neutral future, they are trying to achieve a net zero greenhouse gas emissions while leading the development of new technologies. The company was originally founded in 1996 as a racing company and developed a partnership with Volvo before being acquired by the Volvo Group in 2015. They announced their Polestar 1 car in 2017 and the Polestar 2 in 2019. In 2019 they opened their Polestar production facility and by 2020 were making their first sales. As of 2021 the company is operating in select countries across Europe and the United States and Canada, but are planning major expansion over the next 2 years across Europe, Asia and the Middle East. Now the EV sector in general has had a very turbulent year. We had the EV boom of 2020 and then in 2021 we've seen the likes of Lucid make huge gains before falling sharply both in February and again in December. The Rivian IPO brought a lot of positivity back to EVs, but after making huge gains, that too has dropped recently. And then we have Tesla, which has a market cap of over $1 trillion. After Elon Musk's 10% sell-off crashed the share price, Tesla has made it back to over $1,000 a share once again. One thing about each of these is the massive valuations. Rivian, for example, is still valued at over $75 billion, while Tesla is over $1 trillion. Polestar is valued very modestly in comparisons to all of these. The IPO share price places an enterprise value of just $20 billion on Polestar. The transaction will result in approximately $1 billion of cash added to Polestar's balance sheet to go towards funding its business plan and future model launches. So to have nearly $1 billion in cash at its disposal will be significant, and Polestar's merger valuation of $20 billion means that it is 3 times its 2023 estimated revenue and 1.5 times its 2024 estimated revenue. And again, this is very favourable when compared to its US peers Lucid and Tesla, who have 10.8 and 6.5 respectively for 2023 and 9.3 and 3.6 respectively for 2024 revenue estimates. Now, this investor's presentation is from its merger announcement in September, so these figures are even more impressive in comparisons right now. Tesla's current share price is over 35% above the price used here, while Lucid is now 50% higher too. GGPI was trading at $10 at the time, now this is up to $11, so that is just a 10% rise, and therefore the current price is still less than 2 times its 2024 estimated revenue. This stock has still got huge gains to make yet, and Polestar also compares very well to NIO and Xpeng, who each have market caps far in excess of Polestar's $20 billion valuation. When it comes to projected growth over the next 4 years, we can see that Polestar is second to only Lucid on annual growth rate projections. And it's worth noting here that Tesla is the lowest of these. But that is because Tesla is very much the market leader. Tesla is the most established and is without a doubt the leader in the EV sector. Now, this is something that I've spoke about on the channel many times when it comes to these new emerging sectors. The EV sector is still very new. Consider that Tesla is the market leader and #1 company in the industry, and yet they were only founded 20 years ago. And they have only really taken off in the past few years. Compare this then to the likes of Ford, which was founded nearly 100 years ago, and yet over the past year Ford too has managed to make gains of over 150%. So when you have these new emerging sectors, there will be a number of new entrants to the market, but over time only a number of these will succeed. And with more and more legacy car manufacturers investing in EV, the market is going to get very competitive very soon, and not all of these EV manufacturers will make it. That said, there's a lot to like here, and a far more stable story than most industry participants have to offer. EV bulls need to seriously consider Polestar at the current price, and even investors less optimistic towards the sector should be taking a long look. Polestar is operating across the globe right now and expanding exponentially too. Polestar is now well ahead of and more established than most of the EV competition in terms of sales, with approximately 29,000 sales in 2021, and this is expected to rise to see huge growth rates over the next few years. And rumours over the past few days across social media is that Polestar have met their targets for 2021, but I will wait until there is an official announcement to confirm this. Over the next 4 years, it's expected that the Polestar 2, 3 and 4 will be key drivers of volume from 2023 onwards, mainly from the launch of the latter 2 models, resulting in significant sales increases. And Polestar is expected to see huge revenue increases in these years, reaching a 20% gross profit margin by 2023, and achieving positive free cash flow in 2024. The Polestar 2 has just been named as the top car of 2021 by New Zealand news media company Stuff. So just how good is the Polestar 2? Well, put it this way, if the Tesla Model 3 is considered the benchmark in the EV segment, then the Polestar almost matches it for energy efficiency, betters it for backroad fun, and runs rings around the American car in terms of luxury and quality. But importantly, they also compared the Polestar 2 to ICE cars too. If you ignore the fact that it is an EV, it is also up there knocking on the door of established European mid-sized sedans like the BMW 3 Series and the Mercedes C-Class. However, it is also considerably cheaper than those highly regarded ICE models. Now, this article goes on to list the features and options of the P2 and specifications and pricing, as well as the value for money view of the car. I will put a link in the description for anyone who wants to check that out. Overall, they say that regardless of how you want to configure a P2, all models are built to an incredibly high standard, are great to drive and look fantastic, and they happen to be EVs with good ranges, all of which is more than good enough for Stuff to pick it as their top car of 2021. Overall, over the past few years, we have seen the shift towards electric cars really take off. But just how much of the market is actually being captured by electric vehicles? Norway can be used as a key indicator of the progress that can be made rapidly. Just this week, it was published that 65% of all vehicle sales in Norway in 2021 were EVs, with Tesla being the top selling brand overall. I spoke recently about the importance of the Norway market. Although this is a country with a small population, it has the world's highest proportion of electric vehicles, which is very interesting considering that Norway is an oil producing country. But the Norwegian government have used their oil wealth to allow huge tax breaks from what is imposed on ICE cars. This tax break is expected to help drive the proportion of overall electric sales as high as 80% in 2022, ahead of a deadline to end petrol and vehicle powered cars by 2025. So it is no wonder that NIO chose Norway to be the first country outside of China in which to expand, and why Polestar rate their near neighbour as a huge opportunity. Let's not forget that Polestar is a Swedish company, and geographically Norway and Sweden are side by side. We can see here that just 5 years ago, EVs made up little more than 10% of Norway's new car sales, but within the next 3 years EVs will make up 100% of the market. But that's not all. If we add in the number of hybrid car sales too, this brings it up from 65% to 87% of the market in 2021. According to CEO Thomas Ingelath, Norway is the country with the biggest openness to EVs, the biggest understanding of what it takes to drive an EV, and the most welcoming for having an alternative. Polestar's luxury sedan was the 10th most popular car model in Norway in 2021, and it will debut its Polestar 3 SUV in 2022. And they have much higher expectations for the next Polestar models. So will Polestar be a Tesla killer? Maybe in time, but for now Polestar have their sights firmly set taking on Porsche. Polestar plans to be bigger than Porsche with the introduction of 3 new electric car models in the next 3 years that will compete with similar models of Porsche. As we already know, Polestar is targeting sales of 290,000 cars by 2025, which is 10 times its sales of 2021. With 2 award-winning cars on the road today in 14 active markets across 3 continents, we seek to expand to 30 markets by 2023. We are thrilled about the targeted additions of 3 new premium electric cars to the lineup in 2024, starting with the first SUV expected this year. The SUV is designed to take sales away from the Porsche Cayenne. The car will be built at Volvo's factory in South Carolina and exported to other countries from there. Again, this is very important to have the cars being built in the US. At the moment, the majority of production is at Polestar's facility in China, and with the uncertainty around China over the past few months, it will be very beneficial for Polestar to have a US production facility. The SUV will be available in single and dual motor versions, and will offer autonomous highway piloting powered by the best class LiDAR sensors from Luminar and centralized NVIDIA computing power. If you remember, I mentioned Luminar earlier in the video. Luminar is one of the companies that Alec Gores has brought public. So the Gores connection here could prove to be hugely beneficial to both companies over the coming years. Then the Polestar 4, a slightly smaller battery powered SUV, is intended to compete against the Porsche. And finally the P5 in 2024, which is aimed at taking on the other Porsche models. So Polestar clearly have their sights set on taking Porsche's share of the market. One part of that plan is a decision by the company to build its own electric motors in-house with an estimated output of 603 horsepower. That's more than the base, Taycan and Tesla Model S. Polestar says its motor, known by the codename P10, will be exclusive to the brand, so it can tailor to its precise requirements of each model it builds. According to Car Magazine, the SUV market is projected to grow 46% between now and 2026, so positioning itself to take advantage of that market is a smart business decision by Polestar. Of course, every other manufacturer is targeting the same market. So over the next few years, those shopping for an electric SUV should have a wide array of choices available to them. So will people pay that much money for a Polestar? The answer is that Porsche has experienced record sales in the past few years, and its cars have always come with premium price tags. So the real question is whether Polestar will be able to stand out in a crowded market segment, and this is something that I personally feel Polestar will definitely be able to do. So what major catalyst will drive Polestar in the near term? The most important catalyst for GGPI Polestar right now is the merger date. SPACs tend to spike up when they announce their acquisition target, like with Lucid back in February, and when they make their filings with the SEC, like what happened at GGPI back in November when the price ran up to $16 very quickly. The next catalyst for GGPI will be when they set their merger date. And then there should be a continuous slow price increase right up until the merger date, like Playboy earlier this year for example. We have seen this happen time and time again with SPACs, so I don't expect anything different here. We already know that the merger will take place in the first half of 2022, and it is highly likely to happen during Q1. So we could have an announcement within the coming weeks. For example, just look at yesterday, DWAC, Digital World Acquisition Corp SPAC, set the date for the launch of their app in February, and within 1 hour the stock had gained more than 20%. And although DWAC has given up some of those gains today, this stock is still far above what it was early yesterday. So this shows just how important these announcements are to SPACs. So does GGPI have more near-term catalysts? Yes, they do. The next most important catalyst for Polestar is that they meet their sales and delivery targets for 2021. It is rumoured that they have been beating their estimates, and if that is true, then it is highly likely that the share price will increase significantly on an official announcement. So guys, that brings us to the end of the video. If you've watched all the way through, please hit the like button, it really helps the channel out a lot. I really like this stock and think that it has huge potential, and despite the current market, I am expecting big things from GGPI Polestar stock in 2022. If you want me to continue making Polestar videos, then please drop a comment and let me know what you think is going to happen in the coming months. And make sure to pop over and check out my Patreon page where I'm bringing the latest bangers that I believe will have big gains this year. If you're new, subscribe, turn on notifications, follow me on Twitter, and I'll catch you in the next one.